The sealed lamp in the starlight cave. The planet had no name, no green trees, no rivers, no cities. Just wind, rocks, and silence. Long ago, it was full of life. Now, only shadows remained. But under one of those shadows, a human named Eli walked, alone. He was not a soldier, not a scientist, just an explorer. He came to lost places. He found things others forgot. And today he found a cave. The entrance was narrow, hidden behind a pile of fallen stone. His scanner beeped once, faint energy deep inside. Eli pushed forward. The deeper he went, the colder the air became. The walls started to glow, just a little, not from lights but from something old, and waiting. Then he saw it, a circle of smooth stone, a platform in the center, and on it, a lamp. It wasn't made of metal, not wood, not stone. It was smooth, silver blue and glowing from the inside. It didn't look like a weapon, didn't look dangerous, but Eli didn't touch it right away. He walked around it once, twice. No traps, no signs, just dust and silence. Then he reached out, and everything changed. Light exploded from the lamp, soft at first, then sharp like lightning. The cave shook. The air grew thick, his vision blurred, and then she appeared. She floated above the platform, wrapped in cloth that shimmered like stars. Her skin was smooth and gold, her eyes deep as dark oceans. Long hair moved as if caught in a gentle breeze, even though the cave had no wind. She looked at him, not with anger or fear, but with something strange, like she was trying to remember what a human looked like. "Who are you?" Eli asked quietly. "I am Lara," she said. Her voice was music, soft and clear. "What are you?" "I am a wish keeper. You have found my seal. The law is clear. You now hold 3 wishes." "3 wishes?" "Yes. And if I ask for something, you must grant it? As long as it follows the deep laws, no breaking time, no ending worlds. Anything else? I cannot free myself." Eli stared at her. He had heard stories of things like this: ancient magic, alien powers, forgotten weapons. But he had never believed them. Until now. She looked perfect, beautiful, powerful. But her eyes were tired, like someone who had seen too many people make the same mistakes. Most would ask for gold, or control, or endless life. Eli didn't. He took a deep breath and spoke. "I wish you were free." The air stopped moving. Lara did not blink. For the first time, her perfect face changed. She looked lost, not angry, not happy, just unsure. "Repeat that," she said. "I wish you were free," Eli said again. "No chains, no orders, no more waiting in caves." "Why?" she whispered. "Because you looked at me like you forgot what kindness was. No one has ever wished that. Maybe they were cowards." The platform glowed brighter. Lara's arms trembled, the lamp cracked, and in a single burst of white light, the seal broke. Chains of invisible force around her arms and neck vanished. Her feet touched the stone floor for the first time in thousands of years. She gasped, not in pain, in freedom. Eli stepped back, unsure. "Are you okay?" Lara looked at her hands, her eyes. Her body shimmered, not glowing anymore, but real. More solid, more human. "I do not understand," she said softly. "You're free." "I know, but I don't know what that means." She looked around the cave like she was seeing it for the first time, then looked at him. "I was made to serve, built to answer, trained to obey. Not anymore." "What am I now?" Eli smiled just a little. "Whatever you want to be." Outside, the stars had started to rise. The wind carried dust across the dead plains. But inside that cave, something impossible had just happened. A human had met a genie, and his first wish was not for himself. The wish she never expected. Lyra stood at the mouth of the cave, blinking against the wind. Her bare feet touched real ground for the first time in ages. The dust clung to her skin. The sky stretched wide above her, not painted, not imagined, but real. She didn't speak. She didn't know how to feel. Eli sat nearby, watching her carefully. He had offered her a water pouch. She didn't drink it. He offered her space. She didn't move far. "You can go anywhere now," he said gently. "You don't have to stay." Lyra looked at him. "Where would I go?" "Anywhere you want." "I do not understand." "Want." The sun dipped low behind jagged hills. Night came fast on dead planets like this. Eli set up a small camp, 2 heat lights, a blanket, and a cooking pod. He didn't ask her to help. He just worked, and she just watched. Inside her mind, things were breaking, not in a painful way. In a quiet, terrifying way. For thousands of years she had answered, obeyed, served. Every command was like a line drawn in stone, but now the stone was dust. "Tell me," she asked suddenly, "why did you free me?" Eli looked up from the heater. "Because no one else did. That is not a reason. Maybe it's the only reason that matters." She stared at him. He wasn't powerful. He wasn't glowing. He was just kind, and that scared her more than any master she had ever served. "Others feared me," she said. "You looked sad," Eli replied. "Others worshipped me. I'm not looking for a god. They used me. I'm not here to take." Lyra turned away, confused as the stars rose. A strange heat built inside her chest. Not anger, not energy. Something smaller. Something warm. Across the galaxy, something stirred. Deep inside a cold fortress, on a dying moon orbiting the 6th sun. Old systems blinked to life. A council of lights floated in darkness, humming low with shared thought. Seal breach confirmed. Unit Lyra 0 released from binding protocol. Unauthorized wish granted. Punishment must be executed. They opened a void between stars and sent something ancient to correct the mistake. Back on the campfire hill, Lyra's eyes snapped upward. "They know." "Who?" Eli asked. "The Urun elders, the ones who built me. They felt the chain break." "Will they come?" "Yes." "How fast?" "Too fast." Eli stood slowly. "Can we run?" "Not far enough." "Can we fight?" She turned to him. Her eyes shimmered gold. "You used your first wish on me." "Yeah. Do you know what that means?" "No. It means your life is now part of mine." A soft pulse moved through her hands. Power she once used for others now whispered through her veins, uncertain, unstable, but alive. She didn't feel like a weapon anymore. She felt like something searching for shape. "What do I do now?" she asked. Eli stepped closer. "You figure it out." That night she didn't sleep. She sat under the stars, watching, waiting, remembering. She didn't understand kindness, but she remembered what cruelty looked like. And this human, this soft, tired, quiet human, was the first person who had ever spoken to her like she mattered. When morning came, she said only one thing: "If they come for you, I will not hide." Eli smiled. "Good, because I wasn't planning to run." She follows him, but doesn't know why. The planet groaned in the wind as the 2 figures moved across its forgotten surface. Eli led the way, his scanner sweeping wide across the ancient rock. Every few steps it clicked and blinked, revealing small energy traces hidden deep in the ground. Lyra followed him in silence. She could have flown. She could have vanished into the sky. But she didn't. She walked behind him like a shadow that had started to care. "Why are we walking?" she asked. "Because the ruins are underground," Eli said. "I can phase through solid stone." "I can't." Lyra tilted her head. "Then why not go alone?" "Because you're here. You Trust me already? No, he said. But I want to. They reached the entrance by midday. A narrow slit in the ground, half buried under sharp black stone. Eli pressed a code into his device and the stone shifted. A smooth tunnel opened below them. Dark, deep, quiet. Stay behind me, he said. Could kill anything in this place, she replied. That's not the point. What is the point? You've never followed someone before, have you? She thought for a moment. No. Then maybe it's time to try. Inside the tunnel. Old lights flickered. Eli used a hand torch. Lara used nothing. Her eyes adjusted instantly. Symbols lined the walls. The language of the makers. The same ones who created the genie lamps long ago. Here in the dark, she began to feel something strange. The walls whispered to her. Not in words. In memory. This is where they tested the first models, she said softly. Eli paused. You've been here before? No. But my blood remembers. She touched one wall. Light pulsed through the stone. Images appeared. Rows of glowing figures standing still, bound by chains of light. Lara's body trembled. These were my sisters. What happened to them? They were never given a wish like mine. Suddenly, a deep hum shook the floor. Eli dropped his torch. What was that? Lara turned her head toward the end of the tunnel. Something is waking up. They moved fast now. At the end of the passage, a round chamber opened, half mechanical, half alive. The walls pulsed like veins. In the center, a tall throne of liquid glass began to shift, and from within it, a shape pulled itself free. Not a person, not a beast, but something in between. Its face held no mouth. Its eyes glowed white, and behind, its back floated a broken version of the same lamp that once sealed Lara. Lara 0. It spoke without sound. You are out of pattern. I know who you are, she said. You are the echo left behind to track us. Affirmative. Why are you here? To erase the source of corruption. It turned to Eli. The human must be removed. Lara stepped between them. No. The air grew heavy. The creature floated closer. You were made to obey. I was made to wish. And what is your wish now? Lara looked at Eli, then said, to protect the one who broke my chains. The creature extended one hand. A beam of white fire exploded toward them. Lara raised her arm. The fire hit a barrier, invisible but solid, formed not by command, but by choice. She cried out, not in pain, but in effort. Magic burned through her veins, the kind she wasn't allowed to use before, the kind born not from the lamp but from herself. The blast faded. The room went dark. The creature stepped back. You are no longer useful, it said. Maybe, she answered, but now I'm dangerous. The walls cracked. The throne melted. Lara raised both hands, not as a servant, not as a slave, but as someone who had been given nothing, and still chose to fight. The echo screamed as it collapsed into light. Silence returned. Eli stood beside her, breathless. You didn't run, he said. Neither did you, she replied. They walked out of the chamber, side by side. Lara didn't float. She didn't trail behind. She walked next to him. Not because she had to, but because something in her heart, something she didn't have before, said she belonged there. Hunted by the ones who made her, the Arun Council watched the data feeds with silent fury. Lara 0 was no longer sealed. She had denied direct override commands. She had used power outside her permission lines. And worst of all, she had protected a human. Deep in the black halls of the central mind forge, the elders opened the vaults. Not with keys, not with codes, but with thought. Deploy the seekers, said the oldest voice. Terminate the human. Recover or erase the unit. The starlit vault cracked open and something with no face, no heart, and no fear stepped out into the galaxy. Meanwhile, on the desert moon of Oris, Eli and Lara worked in silence. They had found a ruined outpost. Old Earth tech, long abandoned. Its walls were broken, its lights flickering. But it was far from any core routes, and that meant safety, or so they thought. "You're quiet," Eli said, wiring together a sensor relay. Lyra sat on a stone ledge, staring at the sky. "They're moving," she said. "I can feel them. The Urun, the Seekers." Eli stopped working. "How bad?" "They do not sleep, do not stop. They were designed to kill genies who disobeyed. Can you fight them?" "I don't know," she said softly. "They were made to destroy us completely, no questions, no chances." Eli stood, dusted off his hands, and looked her in the eyes. "Then we run." Lyra didn't move. "You should run. Not me. I'm not leaving you." "Why?" "Because you didn't leave me." Her golden eyes met his. In all her long life of being trapped and ordered, no one had ever said those words. "You still have one wish?" she whispered. "I know. Save it, you might need it." "I already used the one that mattered." At dawn, the sky cracked open. No warning, no sound, just a sudden slice of silver across the clouds, a shape breaking through orbit, long, sharp, alive, a seeker ship. It didn't hail. It didn't ask. It descended like a knife ready to cut the planet in two. "Go underground," Eli said, grabbing his pack. "No," Lyra said. "We can't fight that thing." "I can. You said they were made to kill you." "Yes." "And now?" She stood slowly. Her feet touched the cracked ground. Her hands sparked, not with the usual glow of her chains, but with raw light drawn from somewhere deeper. "Now I am no longer what they made." The Seeker landed, its doors opened, and out came three shapes, tall, armored, silent. They moved like wind, each step shaking the earth. Their eyes glowed red, their hands shaped into weapons. One scanned the air. Unit Lyra 0. Identity confirmed. Violation of command protocol. Termination authorized. Lyra stepped forward. "I am not yours. You are unfinished." "No, I am beginning," they fired. The blast struck the air between them, but it didn't reach her. Lyra raised both arms. The ground shook. Metal twisted. Old magic, buried magic, surged from her core. Not obedience. Not control. Will. She moved like a storm. Not perfect. Not polished, but real. The first Seeker was torn apart by raw kinetic force. The second fired a pulse into her chest. It knocked her back hard. She screamed but stood again, bleeding, shaking, fighting. Eli shot the third one. Once. Twice. The Seeker barely noticed. Then Lyra finished it with a wave of her hand that turned its armor inside out. The dust settled. Silence returned. Lyra dropped. To her knees, Eli rushed to her. "You're hurt," he said. "Not broken." "That wasn't just power," he whispered. "You were angry." "Not at them," she said weakly. "At what they made me believe." "And what's that?" "That I was never allowed to be more than a tool." He helped her stand. "You're not a tool." "I know," she whispered. "Not anymore." High above, the Urun felt the loss of their Seekers. They did not panic. They did not scream. They simply prepared something worse. The second wish, and the cost of protection. The sky stayed broken long after the Seekers fell. Eli sat beside, Lyra under a rusted canopy at the edge of the ruined outpost. Her wounds hadn't healed. Not fully. Small burns lined her arms. Sparks still flickered beneath her skin like magic struggling to settle. "They won't stop," she said. Her voice was quiet, not weak, just tired in a way Eli had never heard before. "I know," he replied. "The Urun will send more. Not machines next time. Something older." Eli didn't answer right away. He just looked at her, not at the gold glow in her eyes, not at the strange alien light beneath her skin, but at the girl who had stood between death and a man she barely knew. And didn't flinch. You still have one wish left, she said. Yeah. You should think carefully now. I have. Lyra turned to him slowly. What do you want? He took a breath, held it, then said the words that stunned her again. I wish you were safe. The wind stopped. The ruins fell silent. Lyra's body jerked as if something unseen pulled her up. Light rushed into her chest. Not burning, not bright, but endless. No, she whispered. You shouldn't have used it for me again. I didn't come to this planet for treasure, Eli said, but you could have escaped. Not without you. Her hands shook, not from pain, from something deeper. No one had ever wished for her safety. They asked her to protect their lives. To bring them weapons, to destroy planets, to bend time, but never to be protected. And now that wish was real. The ground pulsed. A dome of invisible force wrapped around her body, anchored deep into the planet, tied to her soul. A new law was born. Lyra cannot be harmed, not by machines, not by power, not even by her creators. But the wish came with cost. Your body is protected, the force whispered. But your power will dim. You will not be able to use it to kill. Why? She asked the voice. Because protection means peace, and peace comes with rules. Lyra fell to her knees. You gave up my strength, she whispered to Eli. No, he said. I gave you something better. Far across the stars in the center of the Uran core, red alarms began to scream. She's sealed, said one elder. But not by us, said another. How? Human magic, the oldest whispered. No, not magic, something worse. What? Choice. They prepared their final plan. No more seekers, no more hunters. This time, the High Elder himself would descend. On Oris, Lyra stood again. Her arms no longer sparked with death. Her voice no longer echoed with command. But her face held something new, stillness, and underneath it, a strange kind of peace. I'm not what I was, she said. Eli stepped forward. Good. They will come for you now, not just me. I know. You gave away your wish. I used it. For me. Yes. Lyra's voice cracked. Why? Because the universe already took everything from you, and I won't let it take you again. That night she didn't sleep. She sat outside the broken dome of the old outpost, watching the stars. The dome of protection shimmered around her, unseen by others, but felt by her bones. And for the first time in all her long, cursed life, she was untouchable. But she wasn't alone. The heart that didn't need a wish. 3 days passed since Eli made the wish. 3 quiet days on the outer edge of the ruined moon, where time moved slowly and stars watched in silence. Lyra said little, not because she was angry, but because her body felt strange, not heavy, not broken, just different. Her powers no longer surged like before. She could still move light, still touch air. But the storm inside her had calmed, not from fear, but from something unfamiliar. Peace. There's one last place I need to see, she said finally, breaking the silence. Eli looked up from his travel gear. Where? The vault, she said, where the Urun stored my core. Your what? The part of me they removed before they locked me in the lamp. It holds my real name. Eli stood slowly. You think it's still there? If it is, she said, I'll know who I was before they turned me into a weapon. And if it's not, then I'll know I was always something else. They traveled by night, under a sky filled with quiet stars and one slowly moving ship far above, the Uran Elder's flagship, waiting to strike. But they didn't stop walking. Not anymore. The vault was hidden beneath a crashed satellite field. Old steel bones of fallen machines surrounded it, broken and hollow. Lyra touched the lock. The ground shifted. A spiral gate opened. Inside was a room made of dark glass. And at the center, A glowing crystal cube pulsing with slow, silent light. She stepped forward. Eli followed but stopped near the edge. "This is it," she whispered. She reached out, hand trembling, not from fear, but from memory. When her fingers touched the cube, light spilled outward, not hot, not loud, just deep, and she saw her true face. Memories returned in flashes, not of power, but of childhood. She saw herself small, in a bright lab, running down halls, laughing. Not a genie, not a weapon, but a girl, with a name, with a family. Before the Arun took her, before they carved out the memories and filled her with commands, tears slipped down her cheek, not because it hurt, but because the person she thought never existed had always been there, buried, silent, waiting. Eli stepped beside her. "What did you see?" "My first day," she whispered. "Before the lamp, before the chains, I was laughing, and someone was holding my hand." "Who?" "My mother," she said, voice cracking. "I had a mother." The crystal dimmed and vanished into her chest. Not as a weapon, but as part of her. Her skin glowed faint gold. Not from magic, but from memory. "I wasn't born to serve," she said softly. "I was born to live." "Then let's keep living," Eli replied. "They're still coming," she reminded him. "I know. They won't stop. Then we make them." Above the vault, the stars shifted again. The Urun Elder had arrived. His ship cast a shadow over the moon. But this time, Lyra did not tremble. She stood in front of the ruins, eyes sharp, feet steady, cloak trailing behind her like the tail of a new storm. "They're going to ask me one more time to kneel," she said. "And?" Eli asked. She smiled faintly. "They'll finally learn that I never needed a wish to stand." The final wish, and her choice the sky tore open like paper. A black ship the size of a city broke through the clouds above Oris. It moved without sound, without heat, like a shadow that didn't belong to this world. The Urun Elder had arrived, not a soldier, not a machine, but the one who first gave the order to erase her soul. Lyra stood on the ridge, Eli beside her. The wind pulled at their clothes. The dust stung their skin, but they didn't move. A beam of dark light split the sky and the Elder descended, not in armor, not with weapons, but in a cloak of light and thought. He did not walk. He floated, and when he spoke, the air trembled. "Unit. Lyra 0. You are out of order. Return and be reset." Lyra stepped forward. "I am not Unit Lyra 0, she said calmly. "I am only Lyra. You are property. I was born free. You were built to obey. Then you built me wrong." The Elder raised a hand. The gravity around her tightened, space itself bent. But the dome, the one created by Eli's second wish, shimmered and blocked the pressure. She did not fall. "I gave her safety," Eli said, stepping forward. "You can't take it back." The Elder turned his face to the human. No eyes, no mouth, just cold light. "You made 2 wishes." "Yes. And now she is more dangerous than ever." Eli looked at Lyra. "Good." The Elder's body cracked. His final form emerged, a tall being made of light and code, arms of burning silver, voice louder than the bay sky. "If she cannot be taken, then she must be ended." Lyra held out her hand, but her powers were calm now. She could not attack, not after the second wish. Eli touched her shoulder. "You still have 1 wish left," he said quietly. She turned to him. "I know." "Then use it." "I already have," she whispered. Lyra stepped into the wind. The Elder's power surged toward her. Light twisted, space bent, but she didn't fight it with strength. She fought it with truth. Her memory glowed from within. The laughter of her childhood, the voice of her mother, the sound of her name. The light from her body burst outward, not in flames, but in freedom, and the Elder stopped. His power began to fade, because she was no longer reacting to him. She was refusing him. His control shattered, his form cracked, the wind around him died, and in one final pulse of silence, the Urun elder vanished. Not killed, but erased by the one thing he never understood, a will that could not be chained. Lyra fell to her knees. Ely caught her. "It's done," he said. She nodded slowly, then looked up at him. "Thank you," she whispered. "For what?" "For seeing me before I knew who I was." A few days later, word spread across the galaxy. Stories of a genie who was freed, of a human who gave up his wishes, and of a final act that could not be bought, stolen, or erased. Some called it myth. Some called it magic. But those who were there just called it a beginning.